Hello, fellow Royals. Welcome to Weekly Spiritual Fitness with Padre Keith. I'm really glad to be with you today, but I am looking forward to the time when this season is behind us and we're able to get back to whatever our new normal is going to be, where we can gather together, where I can hug my grandmother. I mean, it is very strange, a very strange time, but seasons are an ordinary part of being human. Throughout all of human history, we have always been tied to the seasons, and in a way that we aren't anymore. I mean, now I can get fresh bananas any time of year, but the seasons used to dictate what people eat, how they ate them, when they ate them. And so, as well, it was the seasons represented the cycle of life and of death for humans. And so the world religions are very much attached to seasons as well. And so I just wanted to talk to you as we're here on the verge of Easter. Maybe you don't know why the church celebrates Easter, or why we are why we celebrate the seasons the way we do. I think that this will shed a little bit of light on why we have to wait too. Waiting, this sort of anxious waiting, is a normal human thing. Now, how we're doing it now is different. This is totally new. We've never done it like we're doing it now. But it's not a new thing to be uncertain and to wait. In the Bible, it's filled with stories of people that were waiting for things to change, that were waiting for a new, better normal. And so, like in particular, this time of year, when Passover, a lot of our Jewish brothers and sisters will be celebrating a Seder meal starting tonight, tomorrow, Passover starting tomorrow. And Jesus himself was a Jew and can only be understood really from the Jewish tradition as well. Passover is key. It's when God delivered the Jewish people from slavery. And so it's like a getting ready to go. During the Seder meal, I've been to one before in my life. You're always dressed and ready to go. Everything needs to be eaten. Nothing can be left behind. It's a very sacred celebration. And it was during a Passover that Jesus went to Jerusalem, and it was over the Passover week that he was crucified, and then as I as a Christian believe that he came back to life on the third day after the Friday, which would be the Sunday. And so that Sunday being the 8th day of the week. Sometimes we talk about Sunday being the day of rest. Honestly, it's Saturday. Saturday is the Sabbath, and always has been. Sunday is the day beyond the Sabbath. So the day of rest, and then the dawning of the next day is the new day. Anyway, I get excited about this sort of thing. I'm a little bit of a church geek, so I take a lot of meaning for understanding the rest of life from these sort of things. It starts with Christmas, of course. I'm going to back up and we'll start with Advent, because Advent, the time before Christmas, about a month before Christmas, this is a time of anxious waiting. And anxious waiting because, well, as I like to say sometimes, it's because God has not shown up. We've expected God does not show. And Advent, the time before Christmas when we're all doing our shopping, is actually supposed to be a time of quiet reflection as to the places of our lives where we need help. And so in the middle of this, in the least expected way, God shows up. This is Christmas. Christmas is another season, lasts for 12 days, as you probably know from the famous song. After that we have Epiphany. Epiphany is that, God happened, we didn't even know. Because it happened in a way we didn't expect. And so Epiphany is a time of working out the way that the divine is working in our lives. And then from Epiphany, we come to the season of Lent. And that's the season we're in now. The season of Lent is a time for realizing that we have participated in God's absence. We've participated in goodness not happening. And so for many Christians, they will fast. They will not eat meat. They will not take part in good things. In some of the church services, they won't say or sing the word hallelujah, because this is a time for reflecting on the fact that we have fallen short. But in our falling short, then we get to Holy Week. And in Holy Week, They have, of course, it's not always tied to Passover anymore. Easter now happens since 325 for the Sunday after the first full moon, on or after the 21st of March, which means that Easter can happen anytime between the 22nd and 22nd of March, 25th of April, and of course the Eastern Orthodox Church is tied to a different calendar. They go with the Julian calendar, so sometimes their Easter will happen at a different time, and Passover doesn't always happen at the same time either, because for the Jewish people, they're on a 19-year cycle of their months. They have 12 or 13 months in every year tied to the moon cycle, the moon. Right now we're in the Jewish month of Nisan, which is when Passover happens. It has to happen in spring. It's key that it happens in spring. Again, because about the seasons of the year, the barley needs to bud. It needs to feel spring-like. And today, as we're on the eve of Passover, it does feel spring-like, although I see for the weather that it's going to be possibly not very spring-like tomorrow. But we're in Canada, we're in Atlantic Canada, this happens. After Lent, we have Easter, which is the most important Sunday of the year, the most important feast of the church year. This is when all of a sudden we discover that God is with us, God is for us, that even in the ways we have fallen short, God makes up that gap, and all is good, all is right. Everything that was disordered all of a sudden makes sense. And so we celebrate this in Easter, and in the church we say we celebrate this every Sunday. Every Sunday is a little Easter. Easter goes on until we get to Pentecost, which is the second most important season in the church. This celebration is Pentecost. It's sort of like the church's birthday. It's when all of a sudden, that the mystery has been revealed to all people, and so this is almost half the year. And then as the mystery is, we work through that mystery, and we work through what that means and how we're supposed to respond. This all culminates in the Christ the King Sunday, which is the last, sort of like the New Year's Eve of the church, and it was when we recognize that Jesus is behind everything, as we in the Christian church, as we believe. And then we go back into Advent, because in the middle of just believing it, we realize God has not shown up yet. That things are not right. That there's still brokenness in the world. We still live broken and insufficient lives. And so then we go back into Advent, a time of waiting. So I do think that this time of Lent right now, this is kind of tied to Advent, which, by the way, the root of the word adventure is to Advent, just like an anxious waiting. So now I think that we're in a time of anxious waiting ourselves. And so as you figure out how you're going to celebrate Passover, Easter, or the vernal equinox with your family, or if you just, whatever you do and whatever you believe, I urge you to think about that idea of waiting, and what is a good way to wait? How do we wait well? And I mean, it's not something I do well. I'm impatient. I want to hug my grandmother. I want to meet with you again. I want to be in the unit lines. I want to be with people. I mean, I'm with people. I'm with my family. And I love my family very much. And I have to be honest, I've cherished this time with my wife and my children. I mean, of course, there's been harder times as well for living in close quarters, and there's no escape. But it has been good. So as we continue to wait to see when this season is going to move to the next season, I want you to know that this is not a new thing in human history, this waiting for something different. This is something new. And the stories of throughout all of human history have always pointed to the fact that what comes next is good. And so be ready for that good thing that's coming up, and be ready to respond. And we all wait together. You can call me anytime you like. You can call my cell 506-292-1817 whenever you like. And if you need to talk to somebody, or you can call a sentinel, you can just call a buddy, call some family. If you're having difficulty waiting, then do whatever you can to try to get yourself in a place where you can realize that this will not last. It seems like forever, but it's not going to be forever. There is a new horizon. There's a new thing coming. And it may be foolishly optimistic, but I believe that whatever comes next can not just be good, but it can be very, very good. I wish you all greetings at this time of change of seasons, change of in our lives, time of waiting. Take care and be well. Pro Patria.